Julian Edelman was actually on the herd, and he spoke about his reaction, what he assumes is the reaction from people inside the locker room when it comes to Rodgers not being there at mandatory minicamps. Let's take a listen.
I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but if I was in that locker room and Aaron Rodgers wasn't there for 3 days on the mandatory minicamps,
having played 4 snaps last year.
Having played 4 snaps off of an injury when we have 2 new receivers, we got a bunch of new linemen that we added to the team with a CBA that doesn't allow us to practice a lot. I guarantee there's 4 or 5 guys, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in that locker room sitting there like, where's he at? Now, if they start 4-0, no one's going to care.
That's right.
But this is the NFL. I think it's a bad look for your leader, for whatever reason, to go and miss an unexcused absence. I mean, I was with Tom Brady in his 25th year or 23rd year, and he started missing OTAs here and there, but he was still there, never missed a mandatory minicamp. And, you know, I just thought it was a bad look.
Agreed. It's a bad look. But go ahead, Q. You got it.
Julian Edelman talking about Tom Brady not missing stuff.
Uh-oh.
By the way, are you
Julian Edelman?
Are you making the face while you're doing that?
Yes, he is.
I was working on my Julian Edelman impression.
He does a tremendous Julian Edelman.
Come on, let's hear it.
It's really great in person too.
Yeah, I just don't remember him talking like that earlier in his career, and then being around him a little bit down at Exos. I was like, man, he's really changed up his cadence since he's gotten on TV.
You're saying somebody's worked with him? He's
different cadence to it.
What was the old one, Q?
Well, he slowed down a lot how he talks now, so he doesn't talk as fast as he used to. Yeah,
like what you're doing right now. You almost kind of can't sound like Randy Macho Man Savage right there.
Well, the cream rises to the top.
Always rises to the top.
You step through the ropes in Dublin, Ohio.
Yeah.
Hey, my name's Brady Quinn. I'm 6'4", 242, and I'm stacked and jacked.
Julian Edelman.
I close grip bench 575 10 times. Would you dig it?
Damn.
Back to what we were talking about.
I got your EAS right here.
There's no way of getting around the fact that it's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
There's no way of getting around it, right?
Correct.
I mean,
it's a safe take.
You know when you're going to have mandatory minicamp. You know it's finable. You know all of that, right? Like there's no way of getting around it. The truth is like it's not going to matter if they win the division, go into the playoffs, get to the like. No one's going to be talking about that, will they? But they will if things don't work out. Mm-hmm. They'll use it as one of the many examples. So that's the only thing at risk here. But it's kind of been who Aaron has been, at least, right? At least the last 4 or 5 years, maybe. I mean, this is kind of how he's conducted himself. So the Jets can't be surprised by it. And I don't know why fans or people in the media or on the outside are surprised by it. And like I said before, like ultimately, depending on how their season goes, we're only going to talk about it if their season doesn't go the way we think it might go. And I'm bullish on the Jets. I think they will end up winning that division this year.
Well, you guys know I'm not bullish on them.
Why not?
And so, because again, I think that it's hard to overcome corrosive culture. I really do. And I don't have any indicator that the culture has shifted in the direction of a healthy culture that is conducive to having an environment to have success as a football team. And that's regardless of who you add. Again, if I'm giving an example, my rookie year, I came into a corrosive environment. Didn't know it at the time, too young to know it, too naive to know it, but nonetheless, that's what happened. They added guys like Deion Sanders. They brought in Jeff George to be the backup to Brad Johnson, who was an eventual Super Bowl champion for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They added Mark Carrier. They brought in Bruce Smith. I mean, they drafted me and Chris Samuels. They loaded up the team, and the team was loaded, by the way, with a cornerback named Champ Bailey on that team. You had Champ Bailey, you had Deion Sanders, you had Darryl Green.
What up, Champ?
You had Sam Shade, you had Mark Carrier in the back end of that defense.
What up, D Green?
Yeah, Stephen Davis.
Deion there?
Skip, yeah.
What up, Steve Day?
Yeah, Stephen Davis. You had Skip Hicks
What's
in
up,
the background. Adrian Morrell, Larry Centers in the backfield.
Skip Hicks?
What up,
Yes.
Larry?
loaded. The team was loaded. Yeah, John Jansen on one tackle side.
Double J.
You had Chris Samuels on the other side anchoring that offensive line. The point is that we didn't even make the playoffs, and I look at that as an example in terms of a reference point. What would make me feel like things could have gone differently with that team with all that talent on it? And basically, I think the conclusion that I continue to come back to is there needed to be an environment that was more stabilized and conducive to just being about the game and understanding that us working together, us getting better as a team was going to ultimately be the reason why we win games. And there were a lot of distractions. And I think that in New York, there's going to be a ton of distractions. And while someone like Aaron Rodgers, who has lived in what has been perceived as him creating distractions, whatever side you fall on it, I just think the reality of it is that maybe he can handle those aspects of what comes along with it. But some of these guys are very young. There's a lot that goes along with having this type of off season, and I don't know that this team has given me any indication that they're going to overcome all of the things that are being discussed or that we've seen in years past from this organization.
So I'm going to support Aaron Rodgers through all of this.
Of course you
are, because that's just the hill I've chosen to die on, and I'm happy to die on that hill. No problem. I think whatever he wants to do to get ready, he's been there the entire offseason. He missed 2 days. Not really that big of a deal.
I mean, maybe this is just how he gets ready, right? Like, Jonas, how do you get ready for a radio show?
Lift. Look at me. What do you mean, how do I get ready for a radio show? I lift. I do shrugs for an hour straight.
You should see what he looks like right now.
Here's what
LaVar,
I would...
What do you do to get ready for the radio show?
In what way? In what regard?
Anything. I don't
just
know.
Driving here or just before we crack the microphone? I just like to
in the car, are you warm up your voice singing?
No.
Are you sing Out Now Brown Cow? What are you saying?
I listen to music. I try to pump myself up like I'm about to go play a game.
Okay.
I do try to I'm gonna give the people what they want, for the most part.
Maybe this is his pump up,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's good to think that, okay, he's got a pump up. Obviously, he's had a lot of great success. But what if that pump up doesn't translate to the other guys that are in that locker room?
I mean, if he wants...
So I feel like for me, if I have a bad show, like say my pump up doesn't lead to me having a great show, it doesn't matter because in radio, you guys will have a great show. I'll have a bad show, and somebody might hear it and be like, "Oh, the dude sucks." This and the other. We keep it moving. But in football, if one of us, especially Aaron Rodgers, or better yet, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, if it's other players, like if it's his running back, if it's his offensive lineman, if it's his receivers, if they have a bad game and Aaron Rodgers can't overcome that, they're going to lose, and ultimately that's going to impact them because they weren't able to get over what it was that Aaron Rodgers used to get himself ready. They weren't able to overcome that.
I mean, listen, if he wants to do bong rips while sitting on a camel to get ready for the season, then you go do what you got to do. Like, they'll take whatever they can get. They are not in a position to complain about what Aaron Rodgers is.
I mean, the only problem is what if he goes down? He went down. Aaron Rodgers was ready to go. He goes down, and what happens to their season? Their season went down. So I think if it's made all about Aaron Rodgers, then I think that you defeat the purpose of this team having a fair opportunity to win if Aaron Rodgers is unavailable.
Can I ask you guys about this? Because I thought this was – I'm not sure exactly how to view this, but when he was away from mandatory minicamps, there was a story that kind of got buried in the whole, theories of where he was and what he was doing. But part of the story that I thought was kind of interesting, Connor Hughes of SNY reported that Todd Downing – was calling plays during the 2-minute drill at minicamp and not Nathaniel Hackett. If Rodgers was there, is that happening? Or is it because he wasn't there that they decided?
See, that's a petty conspiracy theory.
I'm just asking. Was that sort of a punishment?
I mean, who knows?
Was it a
No, it could just be they're giving Todd Downing an opportunity. Coaching staffs have to prepare for everything. What happens if Nathaniel Hackett's sick, can't be in the facility, can't call plays, something happened, right? You've got to have someone who's out there as well. So you got to prepare yourself for that. I mean, Downing is the quarterback coach, and he is the pass game coordinator. And so one thing you have to consider, too, is oftentimes there could be a coordinator who's up in the booth, and that means he's not the one talking directly in the quarterback's helmet. It might be a relayed call in to someone on the sideline who's then calling in the radio system in the quarterback's helmet. So sometimes there's confusion from people on the outside because they're like, oh, so-and-so was calling the plays. You're like, well, no, he was just, basically radioing in the play. There's still someone else who's actually deciding what play is being run. So I don't know that you can read too much into that. That being said, I mean, Todd Downing has been an offensive coordinator before in Oakland back in, 2017? And I think they were in the bottom half of the league in yards and scoring. And 2021, 2022 in Tennessee, he was there too. And they got worse between those 2 years. Got to be middle of the road to now. So I'm not sure it gets any better if they're looking at going to Todd Downing, at least given his resume so far.
I would say there's a better conspiracy theory if Nathaniel Hackett had just mysteriously, coincidentally, ironically took a vacation at the same exact time as Aaron Rodgers. Leaving.
Then you'd assume they'd be together. It'd be like Lee and Todd.
Or Lee and Jonas.
What
do you mean?
Yeah,
there you go.
That's pure
now,
coincidence.
Now you're with me. There you go.
That's pure
so
coincidence.
If Nathaniel Hackett was gone and said it was pure coincidence that I took the same exact time off as Aaron Rodgers during the mandatory minicamp that took place and left, the rest of the team to practice, left Brady and LaVar to do the show without them, I would say that there's more validity to the conspiracy theory.
Pure
if you were
coincidence.
asking me.
That's just pure coincidence.
Well, then why come up with the idea of the offensive coordinator not calling the 2-minute drills and creating a conspiracy theory to that?
I mean, listen, I'm just trying to.
I'm with you there, right? Turn on that music because you know what? I want to know.
Hey, let me tell you something.
I want to know.
I took time off.
I want to get to the bottom of this.
And Lee just happened to coincidentally take time off at the exact same time.
Now, keeping in mind that Jonas Knox takes off literally 5 days during the course of an entire 365-day calendar. And Lee DeLapp happens to take a vacation the same exact time as one Jonas Knox. I don't know. I mean, maybe it is coincidental. I don't know.
I mean, that sounds like something you got to take up with Lee.
I don't know. I don't think it's take up with it. I just think that this is that would be a better conspiracy theory for what's going on in New York versus the one you presented.
Lee, do you want to defend yourself against these reckless accusations here on the air? Like, do we want to have this conversation?
We've synced up. I don't know what to tell you.
Are we on the same clock? Is that
I think so. I think it might be.
Enough. We're always in this. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. I forgot what time slot we're in.
It's all good.
That's a joke that's appropriated for
certainly,
in the morning.
But all seriousness, right? If Nathaniel Hackett was not there, then maybe you have the conversation. Now I would say, knowing that Aaron Rodgers let them know ahead of time that he was going to be missing. I used graduation as a reason why he was missing, as that being a legit reason to say ahead of time.
What did I use as a reason why?
Hot air balloon ride.
Yeah, hot air balloon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, hot air balloon ride. Yeah.
I think it was because I saw one that morning, and maybe I was just, and it was on the back.
I think we were both wrong anyway. So I think Jonas is more closer to being correct than any of us.
Well, you were gone, and we played Headline or Lie, and then I think Lee or Jonas floated out a theory. So there's that.
Yeah, that he.
That was a lie, though. I think
the ayahuasca. It was my guess. That was my theory on where he was.
No, you had a destination, though, too.
Did I?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sure if I did.
Can't remember. It was it was a couple weeks ago.
By the way, I just saw this headline. I thought this was pretty funny. The bartender, Justin Timberlake's bartender, is claiming that he had one drink before his DWI arrest. Yeah, what was it? A paint can of moonshine? One drink my ass.